Welcome back to the WCS America Challenger League qualifiers. We're here. We just saw Jaedong take down Nooney 2-1, but Nooney put up one heck of a fight.
Oh man, I did not expect that from Nooney, but I mean, he came out with such ferocity and was just barely losing each of those games, especially with game number 2 with those upgrades.
Really creative builds by Nooney there. Second attack rate was literally 1 second from finishing that forage out. It was so unfortunate. But anyway, he's going to fall down to the lower bracket Jaedong advantages. Our next match is going to be between Team Liquid's Taeja and Complexity's Hendralisk.
And Taeja, one of the strongest players that are out there today. I mean, look at these win percentages. I mean, at least for a long time, 60% was unheard of, but look at this. He's 60% across the board, and not only 60%, but 63, 66, and 69, and 69% against Zerg. That's what Hendralisk happens to play as. So this is going to be a very tough battle for Hendralisk, but of course he's been, one of our up-and-coming players, and it's possible that he's going to be able to take off a game, possibly 2, off Taeja, and if he does, then I mean, he's going to go down in like history books.
Yes, Taeja is such a monster opponent there. He's done so well in so many events you can't even fit him all in the card. This guy has been around winning. He's only 18 too. I mean, in Korea, a lot of the top players are a little on the younger side, but it's this guy's just such a monster. Like you said, Hendralisk, up and coming player, hasn't really established his name yet in the Americas scene. But he's taken games off top players before in practice. I've seen him beat a lot of world-class players. But in this best-of-3 situation against Taeja, it's going to be a very uphill battle.
It's going to be an uphill battle, but hopefully we're going to be able to see some amazing games now. It looks like Taeja has finally joined the lobby. Let me just make sure if these players are ready to go. And once we do, we're going to be getting on to game number 1 here on Belcher Vestige of Taeja versus Hendralisk. So just got to wait for a couple of seconds. But meanwhile, I mean, what do you think about the rest of the games that are going on right now? I think this is round 3, right?
I believe it is.
I believe this is round 3. So the winner of this, of course, will qualify for the Challenger. And it looks like actually both of them are ready to go. So let's get this game underway. But winner here, of course, progresses on into the Challenger bracket.
That's right, of course. So this would be a massive win for Hendralisk. Remember, this is still the winner's bracket. So whoever loses here isn't totally eliminated. They can go through that lower bracket.
All right, guys. So Belcher Vestige is our map, spawning up here in the top left-hand corner from Team Liquid. It is Taeja. And spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner from Complexity, our blue Zerg player. It is Hendralisk. It's going to be a pretty good match. Of course, Vestige. I often find that Vestige is a very difficult map for Zergs. You have a linear progression of bases that kind of stretches left, wide across the map. And while in some cases that would be preferable, in a case like this, as a Zerg, it leads to a lot of drop play. I've seen nothing but a lot of drop plays pretty much dismantle a lot of Zergs on this map. Some excellent defenses have been devised by some Zergs, but it's whether or not Hendralisk is going to be able to do that against Taeja.
Drop play is very tough here. One of the other aspects that makes this map a little bit tough for Zergs sometimes against Terran is Terran can often take their third base very close to where the Zerg wants to take their fourth, and it allows them to both defend their third from run-bys and attacks while creating a gathering point to accumulate forces and to continually pushing at the Zerg's fourth base.
So nothing too crazy coming out here from Taeja, just grabbing that gas, grabbing that barracks, and it looks like he's going to go straight on into probably a Reaper opening, just to try and figure out what's going on with Hendralisk's build. Hendralisk himself just grabbing that quick little hatchery. That's the one. Hey, they both rhyme. And I'm going to be interested to see if he's going to go for that very, very quick third base, like we saw actually Kawhi Rice do, considering you have a pretty long rush distance on this map.
You definitely do. I kind of expect Hendra... Oh, actually, already getting a gas. So he's going to be going for very fast speed beams, which is, another one of the ways to deal with that Reaper. We saw Kawhi Rice just kind of absorb some damage and then try to push them away with Queens and slow Zerglings. Speed beams will chase the Reapers away. Of course, it comes at a sacrifice of losing some of the early mineral income, having to get the extractor earlier, getting the gas. It delays the third base, and it delays the potential number of queens and drones you can produce as well.
And I mean, now you've committed to that speedling upgrade. Either you build Zergling to actually use it, which means less drones, or you don't, and now you have an upgrade that you can't, you're not going to use for a very long time. So it's a little bit of a commit, but of course with it, if you can take out the Reaper and get it to a pretty good position, you have pretty dominating map control until Hellions come out. And with Hellions, that's less Widow Mines. So that's just what a Zerg can pray for is less Widow Mines.
Anytime you make your opponent get less Widow Mines, that's a big win. One thing I want to see is Hendralisk going to send a 2 Zerglings from his natural to counterattack and potentially cancel his opponent's expansion or kill the SCV. Looks like not. He's going to rally all 6 Zerglings to help deal with the Reaper.
Oh, almost getting us around there on the Reaper. The Reaper now a little bit hurt, going to try and get out of there, and it will, as there's the ledge right there. Reapers, of course, for some reason, can fly over ledges. Zergling only in campaign.
Once you get that upgrade.
Once you get that upgrade.
Raptor Zergling.
Yeah, sometimes you decide not to get that one. You get the other one where they just instantly respawn, which, up to your playstyle. But here comes those Reapers doing a little bit of damage now onto the Queen. The Zergling trying to engage. There is one weak one. Is Taeja actually going to focus it down? No, it doesn't. No, he doesn't. He just kind of attack moves back and forth. A little bit of stutter step with those Reapers. Not really stutter step, stutter float. And he's going to get on out of there and hopefully recharge his health.
Taeja going for the standard fast third CC behind the Reaper Harass, of course, with the primary goals of that Reaper Harass is to scout your opponent and predict if any all-in is coming, how much defenses you need to make, exactly how greedy you can play.
And given that he saw the gas and he saw this, obviously the spawning pool as well, he's going to be, a little bit more defensive. He's going to grab those Hellions instead of grabbing any type of Widow Mines or anything like that, and trying to play a little bit, more greedy that he'd probably like to play. But of course, he has to deal with these speedlings that are now out on the map, and try and, deal with the map control that Zerg's going to have for a little bit.
Going straight for that stim pack, so he's going to go to the bio competition. Of course, TVZ, it's pretty rare to see mech these days. Almost all the top players prefer to go the bio route, at least against Zerg. Hendralisk just starting to remine that gas now, and that could be used. Given the fact he's getting a third hatchery, it could be double Evos, or he could just go straight to Lair, but more likely Evo Chambers before Lair tech.
And yeah, he did try to come in here, try to poke out on that little SCV that's building the bunker, but unfortunately that kind of lined them all up, and Hellions were able to get a good couple of shots, but unfortunately none of the Zergling did die. I say unfortunately because I'm a Terran. That's just, how Terrans should be for other Terrans. Double engineering bay now going down here for Taeja. Bunker has finished up here, and he's got a nice, very solid wall here. And I like how, Hendralisk is running around the map, making sure that there's nothing going on that he doesn't expect.
Scouting is so important in StarCraft 2. You have to know what your opponent's doing so you can know the best way to react to give yourself the best chances going forward in the game. Taeja now moving out. Hendralisk cannot let these units get into too much damage. The Queen's going to go down. Another Queen tries to help create this wall, but the Spinecrawler is not yet ready. It could be focused down. Instead, Taeja's going to back away and kill some creep tumors first. A little surprised he didn't stay in and try to do a little bit more damage.
Yeah, I think he's perfectly fine with doing, what little damage he did, forcing the Queen out there. And now he can at least harass the third base here. And by denying, more of that creep spread, of course, that's going to give him a little bit of an easier time going on to the mid game.
Oh, the Spinecrawler lifted up!
Oh,
Taeja, it would be risky to run past it.
It
could be a trap. He doesn't want to risk running in there, of course. You never know what the Zerg has back there, and if you run in, they have too much, and you try to run out the Spinecrawlers there, you can definitely get your units trapped. Taeja playing the nice conservative and safe choice, which, given how many speedings there were back there, probably the correct one.
So the third command center has come up here for Taeja. He's got a lot of barracks going down. He's got 5 barracks that are going to be finished up here soon enough. And he's just moving straight on into double upgrades. Got a lot of Widow Mines coming up behind this as well. Getting a good couple of roasts on those Lings that were trying to get a nice little pincer maneuver going on there. And actually catching a couple of drones that are transferring over to the third base. It looks like Hendralisk might be able to take out a couple of those Hellions.
Oh.
And now there's a huge gap in the wall. There's nothing to defend these drones, and Taeja coming in doing so much damage. They're going to try and go over to the third base, but they are lining up to do so. And unfortunately, that would have been pretty bad if the Hellions caught up, but thankfully those Zergling came in here, were able to fend off those Hellions and Reapers before any type of major damage was done. Still looking at the workers killed cat. Oh my, 16 right now for Taeja.
Definitely more than Hendralisk would have liked to have lost. We see Hendralisk going for baiting speed 1-1 upgrades. Nothing but speedings in production. This is way more speedings than he needs to defend. He's going for a giant speed baiting bust. This looks a lot like the style that Life used against Flash in MLG Winter Championships.
And he's trying to spend all of these Widowmine shots here by running 2 Zergling in there, hoping that those Marines will not be able to chew through them fast enough.
He's just moving out with these Marines.
Oh, if he gets caught out of position, there's still so many Widowmines,
could
though.
just kill them with some speedings.
Still so many Widowmines. This is...
all the mules go down at the 3rd. If Hendralisk makes a move right now, he could deny all that money.
And it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. Here come all those Zergling going straight on to the 3rd base. There are so many Banelings as well. And it looks like actually he's not even going to go for that. He's going to go straight on into these Widowmines and actually doing a really good job of spreading up all of these Zergling beforehand. But unfortunately now there's just so many Widowmines out there. He does lose a lot of Banelings. Oh, that last shot. That was the last shot. I said he was going to do really well, but unfortunately that last shot just changed everything.
There's also 5 mules. Now there's 6 mules at the 3rd base. There's nothing to defend it. It's so untouched. Finding that one speeding going into Racid, but I think that was a significantly missed opportunity by Hendralisk. He really wanted to end the game with that push, so he bypassed the 3rd, went straight for the heart of Taeja, but he just couldn't quite have enough to take him out.
Unfortunately, yeah, it looks like, but he's going to build up once again another group of Banelings and Zerglings, and it looks like he's going to go now for the this 3rd base, possibly. I don't know. He's a little bit tentative right now. Ooh, burrowing Banelings. I like this. Waiting for the migration of Marines over here to try and deal with this Speedling harassment, and it looks like he's going to be able to clean up all of those mules and actually going to medevac them out of here.
A nice move by Hendralisk. He needs a couple more of these if he wants to gets back in the game. But unfortunately, his 3rd base, this is going to be forfeit. No matter how much damage he does at Taeja's 3rd, it's not going to be not going to make up for the fact that he just lost his own.
Yeah, that's definitely not a good step here for Hendralisk. And he's moving a whole bunch of Speedlings in here, but unfortunately, those medevacs are too good at healing. Those Speedlings are getting cleaned up rather handily by these Marines. Actually, the medevacs now completely out of energy, but still not enough done. Banelings did make a bust through the front wall, but unfortunately, again, he just barely breaks into the wall. He doesn't actually do any damage past that.
The big problem for Hendralisk is, of course, he stopped at 1-1 upgrades. Taeja did not. Taeja's working on 2-2, is moments from completion, and once that finishes, the Marines will have such an enormous advantage against these Speedlings.
Losing so many Zergling as they try to rally across the map, and here comes a whole bunch of Overseers as well getting caught, and there's just the GG. Hendralisk has taken too many losses, made too much of a commitment on that aggression, and unfortunately just wasn't able to deliver anything behind that commitment.
Yeah, quite an unfortunate game. The attack looked like it had a lot of promise. He dealt with the Widowmines very well for the most part. Just a few more Banelings were needed to really break through into that Terra Natural and get in on the production line.
Well, guys, we're going to run to a quick commercial break before we get into game number 2 here. Hendralisk versus Taeja. Stay tuned.